Hi guys, I'm Randy with BRStv, and today we're automating our fish feeding throughout the day with Neptune Systems Automatic Feeding System, or AFS. In this video, we'll go over what makes this feeder so easy to use, what it comes with, tips on setting it up, and how to program and maintain it. Let's face it, pretty much all of us have a life outside of our reef tanks that can sometimes distract us from everyday tasks such as keeping the fish fed. On top of that, some reefers keep finicky or high-energy fish that may require multiple feedings in a single day, so one of the best options to provide for that nutritional need is by setting up a reliable and consistent method of feeding. With that in mind, adding some automation to your tank with an auto fish feeder like the Neptune AFS can really help to resolve these issues and more, and only takes a quick 6 steps to set up on your tank. On top of a very quick setup of the Neptune Auto Feeder, it also has a completely sealed food drum to keep out moisture and prevent clumping, as well as an easy to adjust portion control slide to dial in the right portion for your tank and avoid overfeeding. Finally, since the AFS is connected to the Apex Fusion Cloud, you can not only program your feeder to feed multiple times per day, but you can also program it to feed from nearly anywhere in the world with a push of a feed mode, along with the ability to daisy chain multiple feeders together for a variety of feeding options, including small particulate food for corals like reef chili. Moving on to what comes with your Neptune AFS, you'll get a feeder that comes in a little over 4 inches from front to back, about 3 inches wide and about 3.5 inches tall. One quick note here, you will need to account for an extra inch or so of space in the rear to connect to one of the Aquabus ports. Along with that, the AFS comes with a mounting bracket that you can expand to fit up to about 1.5 inches of glass or acrylic, or for those with wide Euro bracing or other unique tanks, it also comes with a set of rubber feet and some Velcro-like tape. Finally, you'll get 15 feet of Aquabus cable to allow you some extra reach to the top of your tank, as well as a sample of Neptune's own crossover diet to try with your new feeder. Physically installing the Neptune AFS is pretty easy, where all you need to do is pull out the food chamber, pop open the lid, and fill it with your desired food. Here's a tip we found when choosing a food for your auto feeder. Particle size can be important, as it seems the feeder provides a more consistent portion amount with smaller to medium-sized food granules, which is likely what a wide majority of reefers would use anyway. After filling the AFS, you can adjust the portion control slider, which I like to start low and work my way up. Attach the bracket, secure it to your tank, and you're ready to go. Setup of the feeder is super simple with the help of the AFS tasks function, where all you need to do is follow the quick 6-step setup process, and that's it. First, you can find the AFS task, choose your feeder, rename it if you'd like, choose the time of your first feeding and how many portions or rotations during the feedings, then choose more feedings per day if you'd like, and at what frequency. The last setup step is to tie the AFS to a feed cycle for manual feedings, which we'll also use for the final check of our portion control from the feeder. To do this, you can place a piece of paper or a plate under the feeder and let it run the cycle with the feed mode, but I find it much easier to take the feeder off of the tank and run a few test cycles to really dial it in. Maintenance for the Neptune AFS is very simple, starting first with firmware updates, which, like all Neptune gear, should be kept up to date as best as possible. Outside of that, it's a good idea to clean out and thoroughly dry the sealed food drum a few times a year, as the fine dust from the food particles could potentially cake up inside. Let's take a quick look at accessories that you can use with your automatic feeding system. Many reefers will pair their feeder with a feeding ring to keep the pellet or flake food of choice from floating on the surface and potentially down the overflow. There are a couple of options that we like and use here at BRS, with the mag feeder from Two Little Fishies being one of the most popular solutions, or the gourmet defroster from Innovative Marine that not only doubles as a feeding ring, but also provides slow and controlled dispensing of your favorite frozen food. Although not necessarily accessories, here are some food options that we've found works well with these auto feeders and that we've used on various tanks throughout the office. The crossover diet from Neptune themselves is a good fit for their feeder and designed to feed both the fish and corals, and has the highest nutritional fat and protein content. Along with that, we've also used these pellets from Poseidon Energetics in all 3 sizes from 1 millimeter to 3 millimeters. And for your algae-eating fish, the smaller size seaweed extreme pellets work well and have been a staple food for the BRS 160, as well as small particulate food for fish and corals like reef chili. Thanks for watching, and if you have any more questions that we didn't answer here, feel free to give us a call, send us an email, or hop on a chat. See you next time on BRS TV.